We give 17-year-olds the ability to sign on and sign up for $100,000 worth of debt. And we think that's responsible policy. I'm 32 years old now. I have over $17,000 in student loan debt. And I didn't go to graduate school because I knew that getting another degree would drown me in debt that I would never be able to surpass. This is unacceptable.
It is unacceptable. Thankfully, we're in a moment, at least as of when we're filming this, where maybe some relief is coming. Maybe in the next couple of weeks, Biden is going to announce some amount of relief for maybe people who make up to a certain amount, or maybe it'll be very limited. But this is an opening. We're going to try to push as hard as we can to make it as good as possible. AOC has been on a warpath about this for literally years. So let's listen to a little bit more about what she has to say about the issue.
65% of all jobs in this country require an education beyond high school. First-generation college students are 2 times as likely to report being behind on student loan payments. And 63% of borrowers who made payments with Navient during the COVID forbearance still owe more now than they originally borrowed. There are hundreds of thousands of people in this country who owe more on their student loans now than they did when they first took them out. We as a country are profiting off of insurmountable and crushing educational debt, and it is wrong. 4 years after graduation, 48% of Black students owe an average of 12.5% more than they originally borrowed. Greatly looking forward to the Biden administration canceling student loan debt and no longer advancing the false narratives that student loan debt is for the privileged. What a ridiculous assertion. Do we really think that a billionaire's child is taking student loans? Come on.
Exactly. That is a piece of misinformation that is thrown out there to try to derail the entire thing. And we're going to get to that. But also, she was right to point out, like, especially maybe people overseas don't know. Do you know that like you can pay your student loans and owe more than you owed initially? Isn't that amazing that we set up this system? Mother effing woman drag in the Twitch chat says, I only took out about 17K. I owe about 20 now. Oof. Blue Lizard Guts took out 7K, owes 10 now. This is after paying for you owe more than you did.
No, and like, of course, a 17-year-old is going to get locked into some BS, interest rate, some scheme because they can. They can't even vote yet, and yet you can get your student loans, and you work. People are encouraged to do that, and you're sort of sold a whole string of lies essentially to say that don't worry, your college education is going to pay that back. Of course, the right takes it to say, well, that's why college is BS. And we need to not get lulled into that. No, that's why college should be free or incredibly affordable. I mean, you look at that number, $1.7 trillion. And I'm like, 1.7 trillion, 1.7, where have I heard that? Oh, that's the Build Back Better bill as well. That's what we can't pass in federal funding to help mostly working class people. But we have all of this debt. What if we just canceled the debt? And I know not all of that might be federally held, but like, why don't we just cancel that debt? And then you don't have to do Build Back. I mean, it would be an incredible stimulus to people. And I know we're gonna talk about the specifics, so yeah.
Yeah, and I wanna jump into a little bit more of the stuff that's thrown out there to derail this. The first, like I literally cannot like send a tweet about how we should cancel it without people being like, well, I already paid for mine, I won't allow it. And that's what everybody on Fox News is saying. By the way, as I always say, I am lucky enough that I was able to get work, and despite going to grad school, and thankfully in Texas, they have this legislation that requires a lot of TAs. So my grad school basically was paid for, and I worked very hard since I got out to pay, and I've paid off my debt. And that does not for a second make me want other people to suffer through the same thing that thankfully I was able to get out from under from. But that is persuasive to a lot of people that like, well, I don't need it, I've already paid for it. AOC on Instagram responded to that. I'm not gonna read the entire thing, but she made some good points. So she says, I've said it before and I'll say it again, not every program has to be for everybody. People with apartments pay for first-time homeowner benefits. Young people pay for Medicare for seniors.
Yes.
People who take public transit pay for car infrastructure. And by the way, people who drive cars pay for public transit. That's how it works. And she specifically says, if a person is blessed enough to be in a position to pay off their loans, maybe they have a home now and benefited from first-time homeowners programs that people crushed by student loans help subsidize, even though they're not able to buy a home because of their student debt. Yeah. That's how this works. Morally and ethically, wanting people to suffer just because you did is a really bizarre way to live your life. And it's a very bizarre moral foundation on which to place a government. But just realistically, everything in government is you paying for things that you don't personally benefit from, so that the things that you do benefit from are also funded. That's how this actually works.
No, and that's why I think that there should not be a means test for this, meaning I don't think you should have to earn under a certain amount to get your student debt canceled. If it's gonna be 10,000, which it seems like it might be, because Biden won't do 30 or 50 because that would be far too popular and he would win in a landslide again in 2024. But it shouldn't be for those who make under X or who are, now starting small businesses, and like we should not qualify that. And the reason is that if there are some people who are more middle income or who are more well off who get this benefit, it's an immediate buy-in. And what happens in this country is that we have social programs that thankfully do help, like Medicaid, the disabled, the low income, and children. That's great. But what happens? You've got wealthy people who are like, why do we need Medicaid? Yeah, because you've never benefited from it. So all they want to do is obliterate it. And what they do is that they then sick middle income people against the working poor and say, well, they're the reason they're getting all these handouts. And it's a brilliant strategy to divide and conquer, when in reality, just like I believe in Medicare for all, I believe in student debt relief for all, no matter how much you have taken out, no matter how much you currently earn, no matter if you're a doctor or a psychiatrist now, or if you are, I don't know, working at BuzzFeed. I don't know, like it should be for everyone, or whatever you are doing, it should be for everyone. That way there is buy-in, and that way we can beat back this propaganda of people are not deserving.
Yeah, and no, this is what they always do with all the benefits, is that all these people who, like elected officials I'm talking about here, where everything that they stand for legislatively benefits the wealthy, they pick up this one thing as like what's supposed to be their credentials for being a populist or something. But all it does is it adds layers of bureaucracy, layers of necessary paperwork. It slows it down. It makes it harder to implement. Just cancel it, Jesus. And so that's what she's pushing for now. She's saying it should be up to $50,000 per borrower. She said $10,000. And by the way, she would prefer more, but this is what she's pushing for Biden to do, because she knows even that is going to be hard to make happen. $10,000 would not amount to a meaningful improvement for many people. No, Sophie, we're not. And also, by the way, in 2019, 97% of all student debt was held by people earning below the threshold of $150,000 per person and $300,000 per couple. So it's not even worth it. Like the vast majority is people who don't make as much money. This reminds me of the free 4 years of public college, and they're like, well, we need to make sure that it doesn't affect the people who make millions. They're not going to UConn. They're not. They're not interested in going.
But let it affect them. I think it should be universal, so that rich people have buy-in. I keep on. This was Pete Buttigieg's stupid line, like, "Oh, we need to make sure the rich don't take advantage of the public libraries." Let them go to the public library. Maybe they'll care and make a donation because your library is struggling, and you've got, so yes, make it universal so there is buy-in. It's the same thing with education. Stop letting the rich be able to buy their way out of the public system. No, get them involved in that public system.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.